Target is selling a 35mm film camera? Let's find out if it sucks or not. Hello there, my precious little eggies. Listen, I'm not gonna lie to you, I was pleasantly surprised by this little chonker of a camera.
You lie! You lie!
No, seriously, these aren't the sharpest photos ever, especially around the edges of the frame, but this is a reusable 35mm camera we're talking about. The camera is about as basic as the combat shotgun in Doom Eternal. That's the starting weapon if you don't play Doom Eternal. But that's fine because it's exactly what's advertised. It's gonna give you that lo-fi look similar to that of a disposable camera. The benefit is you're not just gonna throw it out after a single use. It comes in at 35 bucks. I'm not a math expert, but that's basically $1 per millimeter. I must have caught it on sale though because I only paid $25 for it. When people tell me they want to get into film photography, I usually say,
stop it! Don't!
Nah, I'm just kidding, film photography is awesome. I usually recommend getting a point and shoot camera. The simplicity of a point and shoot will help people who are new to the scene find out if they even like this whole film photography thing. The cameras tend to be cheaper, except for the ones that really aren't. But most importantly, they aren't at all intimidating. They are incredibly simple to use. With that in mind, it's pretty cool to see more and more companies putting out their own reusable 35mm point and shoot cameras. It's pretty cool to see something like this in a big ass store like Target. And sure, they're not all created equally, like the Five Below film camera. But I've said it before on this channel and I'll say it again, anything that makes film more accessible to people is a good thing. If you're a beginner, I have some really good news for you. Film is so much simpler than you think it is. It's a beautiful medium that I personally feel everyone should try out at least once. If you're completely new, here's a quick overview of the process. First, you load up your 35mm film into the camera and close the back. It's sensitive to light, so you don't want to open the back until you're done with the roll. You're going to shoot the roll of film, advancing it along after each shot. Then you'll rewind the film back into the cassette with this little lever here. Once the film is safely inside the cassette, you can open the back and send the film off to a lab for processing or develop it yourself. I have a video about home developing, you can check it out after this one. At that point, the lab will send you your photos or you can scan them yourself and share them with the world. Here are a few tips to get the best results out of this camera. In general, film loves light. If you're outdoors, you need sunlight. Shooting in the shade or on an overcast day will likely not give you enough light for your photos, and when you underexpose, your photos are going to come out a little extra grainy, and sometimes the shadows will get a little discolored and ugly. It's not amazing. For indoor shooting, unless you're right next to a window with great natural light, you're gonna want to use the flash. In most scenarios, indoor shots without the flash are gonna come out very underexposed. You can see in these shots right here, the window is exposed properly, but everything else gets really dark, which can be cool and moody and dark and brooding and all that stuff, but probably not perfect for every shot. The effective range of this flash isn't that strong either. I found that you need to be fairly close to your subjects in order to get the full effect of it. While I didn't measure it precisely, it felt like if you were more than like 10-15 feet away from your subject, the flash starts to fall off pretty harshly, which can be a problem especially in darker environments like bars. In terms of focus, make sure you aren't getting closer than 3 feet or 1 meter to your subject. For example, I got a little bit too close to my friend Art here and thus he's out of focus. But that's okay because equivalent exchange, he got a little bit too close to my camera right after.
You see that? Cheers to the camera. Oh, shit.
The viewfinder is definitely inaccurate, so keep that in mind when you're setting up your shot. If you look at the front of the camera, you'll see that the viewfinder looks through this little window instead of through the lens. In my experience, the viewfinder looks a little bit more zoomed in than the actual photos. For example, this photo of the railing right here. When I was looking through the viewfinder, I only saw the railing, but when I took the photo, I actually see this door frame and this window here. And lastly, it's very easy to accidentally finger the lens, so be mindful of where you're placing your hands while you're holding the camera to take a shot. And now it's time to put on our dork hats and talk about some technical stuff. The HeyDay reusable camera has a 28mm f8 lens. It's plastic and it's focus free. It's soft, it's lo-fi, it's basically what you'd expect from a camera like this. Nothing to write home about, nothing particularly egregious to complain about. It's absolutely light years better than the Five Below camera. The entire camera is plastic, but it still feels solid enough. It feels like it can withstand a drop or two, which is funny because 2 is the exact number of times I dropped this camera during the course of making this video. and it's fine. The built-in flash is powered by one AA battery, and they actually give you one, which is kind of cool. Just don't be like me and leave the flash turned on, because that does drain the battery. The little LED light on the top of the camera indicates that the flash is ready to fire. Keep in mind that if you're shooting rapidly, you might have to wait for the flash to recharge in between each shot. Another slightly odd happening is that it seems like the on-off switch for the flash is backwards on my unit, meaning the flash off position actually turns the flash on and vice versa. This wasn't particularly important to me, but the camera does come in a number of colors if you're interested. HeyDay is the branding on this little chonker, and while I can't source this, it does seem like it's just a rebranded Ilford Sprite or Kodak M35. And hey, would you look at that, I have a video about the Ilford Sprite as well. Spoiler alert, I liked it. The cameras look fairly similar with some aesthetic changes for that branding. In my experience, I'd say the biggest issue with this camera is the advance wheel. It does feel a little flimsy, but that said, I didn't have any issues with it personally. I did see some people complaining about it online though. There are cheaper options out there, like this one from Agfa Photo, but to me, to be able to just walk into a Target and walk out with this is pretty cool. Just keep in mind, not every Target stocks 35mm film, which is kinda goofy since they're selling a 35mm camera. If you're looking to dip your toe into the magical pool that is film photography, this is a solid option. If you're a seasoned film photographer and you just want a lo-fi fun camera to knock around and maybe you don't care if you drop it, this checks the right boxes for that too. I think I had the most fun using this camera as like a slice of life party camera, just taking a bunch of photos of my friends. It may be a basic camera, but it's exactly what's advertised. And most importantly, all of this just works. This is a very special moment for us. It's time to dust off the Owen Wilson rating system. We haven't done this in quite a while, huh? I'm giving the HeyDay 35mm reusable film camera a very solid 7 out of 10. Wow. If you enjoyed the video, smash that subscribe button. These videos take me a little bit to make, so there are gaps in my uploads, but I promise there's plenty more coming. But it'd be pretty cool if you stuck around and watched this video because YouTube thinks you're gonna like it. Alright, bye.
Like and subscribe. Sweet Little Photography. Dumb man.